Hey everyone, James Pelton here today. We are going to talk Bitcoin mining. If you have ever been interested in Bitcoin or you've been interested in mining, this is the video for you. And you'll notice I haven't done a lot of lives here recently. And honestly, it's because in the crypto space, at least, there's not a lot that I think is worth bringing on. I get pitched a lot of stuff, but most of it is just like, oh, another meme token, another project that's probably going to fall apart. And so the fact that I've had Steve on, I think this is our third time now. But I think this is something that I've even told non-crypto people about this if they're just kind of wanting exposure to Bitcoin. So we're going to talk all about that today. Love, if you guys have questions, please ask. And my question for the day is going to be, me and Steve were talking about this before we went live. Where do you think Bitcoin is going? Let's go a year out. Let's say October next year. We get through these elections and a year forward, where do you think Bitcoin is at? You think it's down at 30K or do you think it's up at, 150K? What do you think? I'd love to hear in the comments. So Steve, before we get going talking about GoMining, can you just do a quick introduction of yourself, who you are, how you found your way into Bitcoin mining of all places, how you found your way to GoMining, and then we'll jump in to talk about GoMining.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the wonderful intro and great feedback on the brand. It's very nice to know that we are one of the few that make it through your streaming process. So, yeah, my name is Steve Dufour. I am the Director Investor Relations for GoMining North America. So, we've been doing North American market development about 11 months. And yeah, I think it's our third time doing this together. So, we're both pros at it now. I found my way into crypto way back in 2019, which was thanks to a friend who really started kind of explaining the value proposition of Bitcoin mining to me, or rather just Bitcoin in general. And, once I kind of understood what the value of currency was and how this was, a deflationary asset and things like that, obviously just went completely down the rabbit hole, started getting really into trading myself. Now I've been trading, almost full time 4 years, heavily a Bitcoin maxi as yourself. So I think this will be a great refresher call, and we'll get some new blood into the audience.
Awesome. Love that. Yeah, I didn't start as a Bitcoin maxi. I started to delve into all the altcoins and everything else that's going on, but just it's kind of the wild west out there. And then when you are coming back to having a financial plan and actually wanting to be an investor, not a wild west gambler, it's turned me into a Bitcoin maxi, because everything else out there, it's like, yeah, there's high risk, high reward, but it's not necessarily what I would consider to be part of an investment strategy. So I've turned into a Bitcoin maxi by necessity, I will say.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
I mean, I think everybody that is new to investing and trading goes through it as well. Because myself, for sure, first 12 months, I was like, I can make a 10x return on this crappy altcoin. Of course, it never pans out that way. So you learn pretty quickly by taking a few losses.
Yep, absolutely. So, how about you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Go Mining, what you guys do, how you started? Tell us just a little bit about the company.
Yeah, for sure. So Go Mining started officially in 2017. We have 7 years of track record now. So if you click on the mining section there in the top bar, it'll kind of pull up some data points on the company and everything. Yeah, there we go. So 2017, like I said, I mean, it's crazy to think now, but that is literally almost half the lifespan of Bitcoin's existence. We started off as, a self-mining entity. Our founders put their own capital into it, and we were very fortunate to get in front of the 2017 bull market run as well as the 2020 run. Those two periods are really what allowed us to expand to, the size and scale that we're at now. You can see we have 38,000 devices online, just under 5 million terahash online. So definitely a juggernaut in the space. We currently represent about 3% of total global hash rate. And you can view all of the mining pools, all the activity. It's right there. You can see the links. You can click on them. And as you get to the bottom of our resource page in that mining section, we actually have live broadcast. So that's
Oh,
a great,
amazing.
great transparency metric for us. We want our clients to see that there's real data infrastructure in place. We're not just smoke and mirrors. There's actual utility and assets behind what we're doing on our platform.
Did you have this before? I don't remember seeing this before, but that's pretty cool. You can actually see kind of a live feed of the. Is this newer, or did I just miss it before?
It's easily missed, yeah. So I'm happy that we found that on this podcast for sure, because it is easily looked over. Whenever I'm doing, demos and stuff, I try to go through this page because it's something that, for some reason, is quite buried on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. And me and Steve were talking before. So I know a number of people in my community. We have gotten into different Bitcoin mining projects. A lot of them have been NFTs and things like that, and some of them have fallen apart. But I think this is different because I won't mention any names, but we've put money into some Bitcoin mining ventures where they were using the funds to start Bitcoin mining. And the startup process is pretty difficult. Maybe Steve, maybe you can talk a little bit about the startup process compared to now. You guys have been running, pretty smoothly, so there's not as much setup. Maybe just talk about the difference between starting and having been around for 7 years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have this conversation a lot with our new clients and investors, and it's just that if you are, an individual trying to get into Bitcoin mining today, all I can say is good luck. You need a crazy amount of money, connections. Getting the actual hardware itself is probably the most difficult thing because ASIC miners are in such high demand. You really need to be connected in the space. And then you throw the headache of, I need land, I need property, I need energy contracts. All of that makes it, a very complex operation to get into. And we're just seeing the way that blockchain technology is. It really rewards people that are at, or organizations that are at large scale. You really have to monopolize a large portion of hash rate. The larger you are, the better your energy contracts will be, so you're more profitable end of day. But um, you know, we're kind of the reverse of that model where we're not raising funds to begin. We are basically an entity that started as, small scale personal mining. Very fortunate in the timing that we entered the space, and then we blew up into this large infrastructure. And only over the last 3 years are we now basically offering hash rate as, a passive investment vehicle to our clients.
Okay. Love that. Yeah, going for 7 years. We say a year in crypto is like 20 years in the real world. So you guys are like 140, looking pretty good for being that old. So
It's a good
um
track record for sure.
yeah. Yep, that's a good track record. So a few questions I get from people when they're considering different investments, and um, would you consider something like Go mining good for people who are not experienced with crypto? Like, how much do you have to know technically to get involved in Go mining?
Yeah, it's very Web 2 friendly. I mean, we've tried to simplify the onboarding process, for anyone who is even brand new to this. It's pretty much, go to the website, hit a registration link, you connect an email address, and boom, you're in the platform just as you are there. When you're in the platform, admittedly, that's when things start getting a little more complicated. You're going to have some kind of understanding of processing, like a credit card payment or a crypto transaction. But one thing I will mention is that one of the roles that I hold is our head of OTC. So we have a entirely separate sales desk that if you're hitting, our minimum investment thresholds, we basically act as full account management services. So we can do customized invoices. We can customize your mining farm really to your budget. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a business looking at treasury solutions, things like that. So I think initially for retail onboarding, it's pretty straightforward, and then the more in depth that you get into it is where you'd probably want to take advantage of the OTC sales process.
Okay, very good. And then do you want to just briefly, so one of the things that I like to do with Go mining and Bitcoin in general is when I'm trying to get new people into crypto and get new people that, they've heard of crypto on the news, but they have not ever done anything. They don't really know what's going on. Do you maybe want to just briefly, you don't have to do a full tutorial, but just briefly walk through what is Bitcoin mining, and like, what are these options that it's, terahash? Maybe just walk through what we're looking at here.
Yeah, certainly. Probably the easiest way to boil this down for, in term like if we go layman's terms, you are essentially trading energy and electricity to mine Bitcoin as a commodity, or if you want to consider Bitcoin an asset. In order to earn Bitcoin, you have these hardware machines that are running 24/7, 365, and they are processing cryptographic algorithm, basically. It's software that is running all the time, all the time, all the time. And this is one function that secures the blockchain. The other function that these machines have is that they are verifying transactions in all of the transaction chain trees that occur. So when you have all of this energy consumption, you're paying 5, 6 cents kilowatt hour pricing. That's where we're using the metaphor that you're trading electrical energy to essentially earn this reward. Without getting too complicated, there are blocks that are mined in order to produce these rewards. But the simplest way we can explain it is that you're basically taking electrical energy, converting it into Bitcoin as a commodity or an asset.
Okay, love that. Now, when you're talking about people who are coming in, they want some exposure to Bitcoin. They think, oh, this is a good asset class to get into. How do you think through? And again, how do you think through buying Bitcoin versus buying Bitcoin miners, buying hash power towards Bitcoin mining? How does somebody just think through making a decision like that?
Yeah, that's a good thought experiment. And honestly, I mean, I'm of my own opinion that you want to have both. You want to be diversified in your portfolio. I would never recommend 100% of either. But if we compare, let's say, just buying Bitcoin, for example, you can buy Bitcoin at today's price. It's about, 61K. The downside of that is that Bitcoin has to be above 61K indefinitely for you to be turning a profit. If you're going to trade the asset, and you're going to buy at 61K and you want to sell at 70, then you try to time the market, you buy low again, and you're rinse and repeating this kind of trading process, which for one, unless you have, trading software toolkits that assist you in these buying and selling decisions can be complicated. But essentially, unless that price is above your entry price, you're not at a profit. With hash rate, you are essentially, paying an advance premium on purchasing Bitcoin, except it produces it every day. So you can think of it as a daily DCA strategy in the sense that every day you're getting, tiny little chunks of this Bitcoin, which over the long run, if you assume a net bull thesis on Bitcoin, um, is a lower risk way to get involved.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. And I love what you said at the beginning there that you want to get involved in both. So you don't have to.
Yeah,
In fact, in investing, you never should put all of your eggs in one basket.
100%.
So you want to diversify. So you might, if you have 5K that you're wanting to get exposure to Bitcoin, maybe you put 2,500 into mining and you just buy $2,500 worth of Bitcoin. And then, if you have this big huge boost, you have that profit there, but then you also have the Bitcoin that's coming in daily. So I love what you said there. That's a great answer to that. Another question that I get a lot is, the crypto market, Bitcoin in particular, has not necessarily been as explosive as some of us thought it might be here in 2024. So do you want to talk about profitability? How much did the halving affect you? If Bitcoin goes down to 40K, 30K, at what point are you still profitable? Just talk a little bit about the volatility of Bitcoin and how that affects profitability.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really anticipated Bitcoin would be higher than where it is. Um, that's the thing with secular cycles. No one knows. It is difficult to, history rhymes. You can certainly predict within, a 6 to 12 month window that something is more likely to happen than not. But yeah, I think everybody anticipated higher prices by now, no question. So I'll be very curious to see what the fall season brings. And we're in an election year, which historically does lead to bull market moves. But to touch on, the halving, it's pretty much status quo, what we expected. So the factor that impacts that the most is your energy efficiency. So if you have very efficient machines, bottom line, you're still turning a profit. If you don't have efficient machines, then your energy costs are now essentially double because the reward payout of your Bitcoin has been cut in half. So if we're looking at, APY numbers, when we were in the 2020 to 2024 cycle, a typical 35-watt efficiency machine was returning anywhere from 50 to 60% APY. Now, post halving, that's essentially been cut in half. So we're seeing more of a 20 to 30% APY at our current market environment. Um, a conversation we have frequently with our clients is, listen, you're looking at a 4 year yield curve, right? So now we're in 2024 to 2028. Post halving in that first year is going to be probably your lowest or worst performance in terms of your yield. When we start seeing, price appreciation of Bitcoin, and then you have a higher US dollar value versus the electricity OpEx that you pay, it's similar to what we saw last halving cycle where, year 1, year 2, pretty flat returns. Year 3 and year 4 is actually where you make the meat and potatoes of your returns from a 4-year perspective.
Okay, very helpful, very helpful. And then I know we talked about being Bitcoin maxi. Do you guys mine anything other than Bitcoin? Any plans to, Caspa's big right now, or is it just going to be Bitcoin going forward?
Yeah, as far as I know, we are full 100% Bitcoin maximalists. So I don't think there's, any future plans. Things could change. I mean, AI is becoming a humongous narrative. Will we integrate with that in the future? I can't say for certain. I mean, we definitely want to stay competitive, and if AI is going to give us a competitive edge, then it's something we would consider.
Okay. Yeah, and I actually like that it's Bitcoin only. It just simplifies things.
Yeah,
There's a few other projects I'm in where they kind of like split it. They're doing, half Bitcoin, half Caspa, half speculative stuff, and it's just kind of it's not as straightforward. So I like that this is Bitcoin only.
it
Do you want?
simplifies it for sure.
Yeah, keeps it simple. Do you want to talk about just potential risks? So for somebody getting in, again, you don't, there's an APY does not exist apart from risk. So do you just want to talk about what potential risks there might be, which is that a potential investor should just keep in mind and think about?
Yeah, definitely. There's always operational risk. So, I mean, even if you invest in a publicly traded company, any publicly traded company can go bankrupt. We've seen it many, many times. We've seen the stock market crash. So, whether you're investing in a private entity or public entity, there is operational risk, and you have to, at some extent, trust the company, trust their direction, see the roadmap, see their developments. I mean, you have to do your research. Outside of that, I would say that your most realistic risk is like an act of God. A data center that maybe goes through destabilization or an earthquake or a hurricane or something like that. I mean, our locations are in regions that don't really have any of that turmoil. They're not in, geopolitical regions where there's like war going on or anything along those lines. Um, so from that perspective, we have taken as much risk mitigation strategy as we can, but there's definitely not a 100% guarantee of anything in any investment.
Yep, absolutely. And then there's, just for the audience sake, there's the risk that comes along with Bitcoin too. Like we don't know
Yes.
what Bitcoin's going to do going forward. It's held up very well as an asset class. In fact, it's if you got into Bitcoin at the beginning, you've have returns way higher than any other asset class. But we don't know what the future is going to bring. Again, we all thought, at least I did. I thought, oh, this is going to be a bull market, and we're going to see 100K Bitcoin by the end of the year, and we're here, and it's not terrible, but it's not what we thought it might be. So there's those risks as well. Also, when do you want to talk about? So when I got my first Bitcoin miner, I have a Bitcoin miner, and it worked great for a few months. It was pumping out, some Bitcoin, and then one day it just wasn't working. One of the fans broke, and it stopped working. How do you guys handle that? Is that something that is going to affect us? Like, are we buying a machine, and if it breaks, then we're out of luck, or how do you guys handle that?
No, yeah, that's a great question. So one of the benefits and one of our value propositions through Go Mining is that you're not purchasing physical hardware. You're not thinking about maintenance. You're not thinking about downtime. All of that is on our shoulders. And I mean, we have at least, the scale where we're able to address those issues. We have, 24/7 technical engineers that are monitoring these systems, very advanced ability to see if there's anything going on that should be addressed. Maybe a machine needs to be retired or recycled. Because we have large existing partnerships with like Bitmain, for example, we get great cost terms on their hardware machinery, and we are constantly recycling machinery to be as efficient as we can. So, not something the investor or end user has to think about. That's called kind of baked into the cost of their investment.
Okay, and that's a huge advantage to using a company like GoMining. Again, if you want to buy your own machine, if you love technology and you're a hobbyist and you want to, have it in the basement as a conversation starter, that's great. But there's a lot of stuff. They're loud. They produce a lot of heat. These were the things that kind of surprised me was how loud it was, how much heat it produced. You have to know how the pools work, and you have to make sure you get into the right pool. That was a learning experience for me. And then, like you said, if something breaks, well, you're a little bit out of luck. I mean, unless you know how to fix it, you're gonna have to, send it to Bitmain or something like that. And like you mentioned, a couple other benefits. Having a direct relationship with Bitmain, Go Mining is going to get machines way cheaper than you'll get if you just go to the Bitmain website.
For
And then
sure.
also, you talked about this earlier, but power costs. So, I'm in
That's a big
Nebraska.
one.
We have cheap power costs here relatively to the rest of the country. But when you get these huge power usage companies, they can strike way better deals with the power companies and can get it way cheaper. So, Go Mining is going to have cheaper electricity than you could ever have. So, there's a lot of advantages to using a company like Go Mining. So,
What is the residential rate in Nebraska actually?
it's 9 cents, so it's not bad. It's pretty good compared
Not
to the
bad.
rest of the country, but,
Yeah, it's 14 cents in Texas.
yeah, yeah, it's,
So,
we're very blessed. Well, and I was talking to a guy out in Oakland, and he was saying he pays, like, 38 cents a kilowatt hour, and,
wow.
so Nebraska's pretty cheap, but when you get a huge group of Bitcoin miners together, you can get it cheaper. 9 cents, you can get cheaper than that, I'm sure. Are you
Oh,
allowed to
for
talk
sure.
about your power costs or anything? I don't know if that's
Yeah.
proprietary or
No, no, I'll touch on it for sure. I mean, we benefit from very large hydro data centers as well, right? So, I mean, those are about as close to zero cost OpEx you can get. Bottom line, we have a range between 3 to 3.5 cents per kilowatt hour, and we pass those savings on to our clients. They're able to pay margined electricity at 5 cents. So you pay a bit of margin, but you take literally all of the headache away. It's a turnkey solution. There's zero thought required.
love that. What's in the future for Go Mining? Is the plan just keep growing? Is there any big pivots that you're thinking about doing, or is it just, hey, what's been working 7 years? Let's just keep growing, keep going this direction.
Definitely growth. It's actually funny. Every time we do these calls, we seem to have some big news that happen because we just got listed on Bybit today in perpetual contracts.
Oh,
So they're a
congrats.
huge, huge North American tier one exchange. Our entire team actually is prepping to go to Bitcoin Amsterdam next week, so that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's we want to increase our hash rate share, over 5% in the next couple of years. In order to do that, we, are looking to expand our community. We want investors to be purchasing our hash rate. And, we're looking at our 10th and 11th data center. I think Bitcoin is really here to stay. And it's crazy to say, but I honestly think we're still very early in the industry. Like, if we compare it to like internet boom days, to me, it feels like we're at like internet 1997.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And I like that we're far enough in where it's not going to die. I mean, it's
Yeah.
big enough now. It's not like day one where people, Bitcoin was at 25 cents and people were kind of like, oh, it could go
No.
away tomorrow. We're
If it
past
would have
that
been
point.
crushed, it would have happened by now for sure.
Yep, exactly. So if people are wanting to get started, you can just go to the website here, get started. You'll create an account. You can log in with Google, I think is what I did. And then you're creating these miners here. And then I love that you guys show the finances right down here. So you don't really have to wonder about you can get more terahash. So that's basically how much power your machine is going to be using. You can see the price goes up as I go up in terahash, but also the ROI goes up and how much you're making goes up. So you can kind of mess around with this and get a real, okay, I want to put in $2,500. So maybe this would be the right one for you here. I noticed that your energy, you had options up here under energy efficiency before those went away. Do you want to just talk about the reason for that? I like it because it's less complicated.
Yeah.
But where did that go?
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, we've seen, some user concerns over the past 6 months post halving, and ultimately it just makes sense to offer the most efficient machines. We still have clients that are running 35-watt efficiency, but they're not turning a profit below 71K Bitcoin, right? So, not like they're going into the negative or a loss. It's just that until we have sustained 71K Bitcoin, the machine is dormant. So, when you're at 20-watt efficiency, you're nearly double the efficiency, which means that your total OpEx or electricity and maintenance costs are going to be far lower. So, from a longevity perspective, you want to be looking at 4, maybe 8 years for 2 full cycles. 20-watt will very painlessly get you through that period without needing to think about, like, exit strategy or, will I need to upgrade to a lower efficiency and then increase my, capital outlay.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. Just fewer decisions for people to make. I think it's better from a marketing perspective. But yeah,
Yeah.
you guys, if you want to get into this, you can just start messing around with the numbers a little bit. You can see at current price, Bitcoin's around 60K right now. You can see what you'd be making, and if Bitcoin goes up, so let's say it goes up to 100K after the elections, well, you can see how that affects your numbers there, and they get a lot better. And I love this. You can
We're
see your
really
daily,
hoping
what was that? Yeah, we're
really
hoping,
hoping
right?
for 100K. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be great. I'm holding on to a lot of Bitcoin. I have a lot of Bitcoin mining and a lot of Bitcoin, so I'm sitting on it and hoping as well. And then these minor traits, these are. Do you want to talk about these? What do these affect anything? Is it just for fun? Do people have to mess around with it? Tell us about that.
Yeah, just for fun. As far as I'm aware right now, everything is kind of automatically generated. So when you create a new miner, it's just, some random artwork that pops up. I think in the future we may have some more customization available. But unlike traditional NFTs where they are just straight up artwork and they're totally subjective, there's no actual value based on the artwork. It's the hash rate utility and the energy efficiency. Those are the only two metrics that actually dictate the value of the smart contract that you own.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, this is all you need to. This is really your only decision to make right now is how much
Yeah.
terahash do you want to buy, and it's just basically just based on how much money you want to put in. So again, you can start pretty cheap. You can just say, "Oh, I just want to dip my toe in, see how it's going." And yeah, if you're part of the NFT world, you understand this traits and why this is all here. NFT people love this type of stuff, but I'm with you. I don't care how it looks. How much money is it going to make me? That's really all
Yeah.
I'm concerned about.
Exactly.
We had someone in the audience ask when you buy. So let's say I'm going to buy a 4 terahash here today, the 20 watts per terahash. When you buy, how long does it take for you to start receiving the reward? Does it take a few days to get it set up? When will you get your first reward?
Just depends how quickly the transaction is processed. So obviously by credit card or like Apple Pay, Google Pay at a small transaction threshold, instantaneous. So within 24 hours, you basically have your first reward payout. If you're doing, a larger crypto transaction, let's say you're above the 10,000 range, which then entitles you to the OTC benefits. It can be as quick as 30 minutes because we basically do a customized invoice link. You can pay via USDT or other cryptos. And then from that side, it's, manually processed on the back end. Our development team just goes into your account, drops the hash rate, and you start producing immediately.
And this is another thing I love about Go Mining too is a lot of times when I'm trying to get new people into crypto, they have to use crypto to get in. And so then I have to explain, okay, you need to download MetaMask and you need to find a way to get
Right.
some crypto into it. And then you see their eyes gloss over and they said, forget it. I don't want Bitcoin that badly. But the ability to pay with credit card just makes this really accessible for anyone. If you know how to use a credit card, you can get in to Go Mining. And
I
then are
will
you
say
available? Go ahead.
I was just going to say the only thing I will mention in terms of credit card payment or Apple Pay, Google Pay is there are hard caps on that. So, depending on your credit card or bank issuing that credit card, you may not even be able to process it at all. We're still obviously in a very gray regulatory environment. If you're doing under $1,000, probably it will go through without issue. But just to keep that in mind, that if you are doing larger transactions, your best bet is still probably crypto.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, if you try to put 10K on your credit card and there's crypto in the word, The
Yeah,
credit
good luck.
companies, they put alarm bells up pretty quickly, and a lot of times you can work through that. They'll say, "Call us and verify that you're actually doing this." A lot of people use crypto for scamming, so banks are very cautious about it right now. I actually my LLC is James Pelton Crypto LLC, and I regret that hardcore because having crypto in the name, banks are all up in alarms whenever I'm trying to do anything. They're like, "Wait, are you a crypto company?" And
Yeah,
yeah,
you
just
may have to file a business name change.
yeah, I might have to do that. I might have to do that. I just ran into that today where they were like, "Well, we
Well, it
don't
depends
really
if
want to do
Trump
business."
gets elected, actually. If he's in, you're golden, you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope, yeah, I hope as time goes on, that they're able to cut down on the scamming and crypto. We can kind of redeem the crypto name a little bit here. Let's see. Is it possible to not earn due to cost of the machines, or do we need to connect a Bitcoin wallet first to get paid? Okay, I don't totally understand the question, but does bring up a good point. Is how do people get paid? So this is how you get into it. How do you get your money out of it? That's a good question.
Yeah, so we know how to pay for the machine now. So if you actually wanted to go jump back in that, there is a section. If you click on the top right corner, there's a little wallet icon. Yeah, right there. If you click on Bitcoin, you'll see that there are two methods of retaining your mined Bitcoin residual. So we have a virtual wallet, which actually is just built into the platform. So it will be held there until you connect your own external wallet. Obviously, we recommend for self custody, of course. That's the whole namesake of Bitcoin. So you can link Ledger, Trezor, Trust Wallet, Exodus. Anything will integrate with our system. And depending on the sending threshold that you select, you can go as low as 0001 Bitcoin. Every 24 hours, it's just automatically sent. You don't have to think about it or withdraw it.
Okay, awesome. So Tezdeep, I would go look in there. If you bought a machine and you're like, "Where are my rewards at?" Just go click up here, and you should be able to see. It should be in his virtual wallet, and then you can add your own external wallet, and then you can get it out of there. But you should be able to see what you've gotten so far there. You also they have really good reports. Let's see, where was I?
Uh, yeah, it's up there. Scroll up and then you go to rewards.
Rewards. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great info. There we go. This is what I was looking for. It'll tell you daily what you got and all that. So, yeah, let's see. Tezdeep, I would suggest their Discord or help on the website for something that specific with a smaller deposit. It will take a bit depending, not getting it too many decimals. Yeah, nope. Thank you, Justin. Justin's my community manager and he's very helpful. So,
Yeah, familiar with Pocket Aces for sure. We've had a couple of interactions. How you doing, man?
okay, good. Yeah, he's saved. He's after my wife, Jesus, and my kids. He's right up there and most important people in my life. So really appreciate Justin quite a bit. Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that's all the questions. Anybody else in the audience have any questions? Steve, do you have any final inspirational words for us to get us through our hump day Wednesday?
Nothing comes to mind. Just hodl it out. Long term, it's going to seem pretty irrelevant what the price is today. We're looking 5-10 years out. If it follows the internet trend and trajectory of mass adoption, I mean, I couldn't be more bullish on it long term.
Awesome. Well, Steve, well, first off, audience, appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on. I haven't been doing as many lives, but when I see things where it's like, hey, here's potential, I'm going to bring them on. So I'm sure we'll have Steve back. I might just have you back every couple months just to get an update, see how things are going.
100%. All
Yeah,
for it.
it's fun talking to you. So really appreciate that. So audience, thank you guys. Please hit like on the way out. Steve, thanks for coming on, sharing your expertise, sharing a business that's stuck around for a while, has not rug pulled anyone yet. Really appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Definitely. I appreciate it as always. It's a blast on your channel.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.